Tonight, the Rapides Parish School Board voted to approve the creation of an advisory panel to study the possible creation of a pre-K through 12 academic and performing arts magnet school on Bolton's campus. The board voted to approve how that panel would be structured, with 4 school administrators, 4 classroom teachers or coaches, 4 parents, and 4 community stakeholders. 2 of the 4 administrators would be appointed, 2 would be randomly selected. 3 of the 4 teachers would be appointed, 1 would be randomly selected, and all 4 stakeholders would be randomly selected. And to qualify to be randomly selected, individuals must first complete a survey, which, according to the school board, will be available tomorrow. Once that panel is complete, it will meet bi-weekly to discuss the pros and the cons and a timeline of creating the academic and performing arts magnet school on Bolton's campus.
So we're excited. Over the next 3 or 4 months, we're going to be having meetings every couple weeks and talking about this particular possibility here for the Rapides Parish Public School students, and obviously we'll be detailing that every time we meet.
So at the meeting, the board approved a school requirements and retention stipend for the next school year, where certified teachers can earn up to $5,000 to sign on to teach or continue teaching at D.F. Huddle Elementary, Alexandria Middle Magnets, and Horseshoe Drive Elementary. We'll have much more details on the programs on our website.